Hello, good morning. It's another beautiful morning here. After my morning exercise, it's a little bit dribbling. It's raining, so I had to come under the tree. Today, I want to talk about my encounter with failure. And because last week I talked about dealing with failure, I thought it's only fair that I share my perspective. It's always good to talk from a position of experience. My first recollection of failure was back in 2002 when I had just finished primary school. And some people might be surprised, how can a primary school child or pupil be able to talk about failure or have a recollection of failure? I know this because I can remember very well back in primary school, back in primary 4, 5, and 6, walking along the hall in my school, I would see the names of distinguished outstanding students on a blackboard, and I would think to myself, almost every time I walk along that hall, that I want my name on this board, So I was quite determined, and in year 6, a few of us were selected, high performance as you recall, to be grilled, tutored intensively in preparation for some school of the gifted in Abuja, Suleja back then, and the Federal Government College Ilorin. The Federal Government College Ilorin, anyways, was the Federal Government College. Wherever you want to go is for everybody. So a few of us were selected for the school of the gifted, and not to get into either of them was quite devastating. I still can't believe up to today that my score was not good enough for the Federal Government College Ilorin, because that was like a piece of cake, and the school of the gifted in Abuja, I know that is highly competitive. It used to be very, very competitive. The best of breeds across the country compete for very few slots in those days. And I remember when the results were out, weeping, crying inconsolably. My dad would be by my side trying to, calm me down, tell me it's not the end of the world. But I could not say a word beyond that point, at the point. And again, this underscores that when failure looms, when the cloud of failure covers you and it looks as if the world is coming to an end, no, that cloud is going to fade and you have clear sky. The light will be at the tunnel. So don't give up on your goals, on your hope. So in essence, I allowed myself to feel. I felt the rejection. I think it's the most disappointment I'd allowed myself to feel in my entire life. And up to this moment, I'd had several other encounters with failure, and I'll share some next week. But it's about the most disappointment, the most emotion of disappointment I'd allowed myself to feel. So I allowed myself to feel this. And this went on for about a week or two before I started, inquiring what went wrong. And to be frank with you, I think we were able to get something out of that. I think I did not write my name on the exam sheet for the FGC, and of course I wouldn't get a result. But for the Suleja, it was difficult to get anything from our inquiry. Then, when everything was settling, we started to explore. Most of this exploration was done by my dad anyway. And one day he came to me and said, "Look, there is a school. It's at the top of the town, Ilorin Comprehensive School. I would like you to explore it and give it a chance. I think you would do well there." And we went for the entrance exam. I did the entrance exam. I was second out of all the students that had applied into that school, and still I wasn't satisfied. I remembered upon resumption, I went to the guy that was the first position. He's a good friend of mine up to now, Jim Obisai. Hello, my name is Ahmed. I understand you were the first position in the entrance exam. Nice to meet you. And he was, a little bit cheeky back then. But I was a boy on a mission. I wouldn't allow the failure of not getting to FGC or Suleja take me down. So I had something to prove. So I started with clear goal in mind, and I'm glad I was able to achieve that properly. So explored, and then I strategized, make a plan for the high school. What do I want to get out of this? Made a plan, and wanted to be one of the best. You understand? And I was able to achieve that. So strategized, made a plan. The next thing is supposed to be manage your expectation, but back then I didn't even want to give any thoughts to is anything less than being one of the best. But I would advise manage expectation, and if you're a parent listening to this, help your kids manage their expectation, in a subtle way. So, basically, this was my first encounter with failure, my first exposure to failure, and I think it shaped me in a way that I would never understand, because throughout my high school I was able to maintain very good performance, being the best of among very good students, very good students, and then that's continued into medical school. So this is me. Next week I'll share another encounter when I had grown up, when I moved into the UK, and this almost took me off the rail. I'll share that perspective, and after that we'll now go into some medical knowledge, medical education, and educating the public about some very important medical topics, and then we'll be alternating between the motivation, inspiration, some life advice to health. I hope this helps everyone. Have a good day. Bye.